Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video will be of this beautiful gown with cape or gather net, whichever. And if this is your first time of stopping by, do hit to hit on the subscribe button, join the family. And to my old subscribers, I say thank you very much for all your support. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to wash my ass. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Share my video to family and friends, and let's get straight into the video. My best color is black, blue, white, and gold. So for this style, I folded my fabric into four, sorry. So I'm cutting the back and the front together. So I folded a wide fabric and then I folded over again. So I have excess here for my zipper allowance. So make sure whatever you are going to be folding should be enough. This front one, so the one up is for front, this is the back. So it should be enough for your bust measurement divided by 4 and then your stitching allowance. So that's what we have here. So that's what we have here. I'll go ahead and mark our starting point, and I'll be taking my shoulder stitching allowance here too. So once I am done with that, I'll go ahead and mark my half length, which is 13 inches, and then I'm adding half-inch stitching allowance at that point to join it to the skirt part. The other stitching allowance for my shoulder will be added here, just like I mentioned. So remember, we are cutting our back and our front bodies together. So we have the one up for our front and then this one for our back. So this is our center front. So that's where my measurement is going to be starting from. So here is where my measurement is going to be starting from. I hope you get this now. So starting from there, I'm going to go ahead and mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and which is 5.5 inches. I'm supposed to add half-inch stitching allowance, but I'm not adding it because I want this shoulder to be inward a bit. I don't want it to be off my shoulder, so I want it to be inward. So I'm going to be using half-inch to stitch it. By the time I'm done with that, it's going to go inward a bit. And then for my bust points, my bust point is my shoulder measurement divided by 2, but I'm adding half-inch for east to east, which is 6 inches. Am I rushing? Please pay attention. I'll connect this line straight and then connect this one straight. Then for my neckline, for the width of my neckline, I am marking at 2.5 inches, and then for the depth, I am marking at 3.5 inches because I want it to be deep because of the style or whatever we are going to create, cape, or I don't know what to call it, that will be attaching here. So I'll go ahead and connect this neckline. So this is what we have. I just hope you guys can see. And then for my shoulder slope, I'm going down by 1/2 inch, and then I'll connect it to my starting point. Then remember, we are going to be stitching this shoulder measurement, and we didn't add it here. So I'll go ahead and mark this and increase it by 1/2 inch so that I don't forget. So this is where I'm going to be cutting from. By the time I join it with 1/2 inch, we'll go down to our original point. Then for my bust measurement is divided by 4. Which is 7.25. I'll mark it here, and then I'm adding 1 inch stitching allowance to it. So I'll go ahead and connect my bust points. And yes, I am using my free hand today. Then because my bust measurement and my waist measurement are the same, I will just mark this line straight to meet it up. So that's basically all for the bust pattern, or the. For my back neckline, I'm going down by 1 inch. I'll connect it to the front one. I almost cut the back and the front the same. So I'll cut the back one before we remove and cut the front. Oh, this is just now as useless as something else. It's not cutting anything. Then for the back, I'm going down by 1/2 inch, or up by 1/2 inch here, and then I'll slant it to meet the side seam. The reason for this is so that by the time the child wears it, it balances on the body. Remember, there is no dart on it. So I'll use the same thing, this pattern, to cut out my lining pieces. Okay guys, I'm done cutting out my lining pieces, so we are going to attach this net. So for this net, for mine, I have the length of 8.5 inches, but you can increase this length if you have more net. So my net, I was able to cut out this length. Then the or this width. Then the length of it, I have 3 layers here. So because mine is not too big, so that to gather more, I have to triple it so that it will have more volume here. I hope you guys understand this. So I made a strap of fabric we're going to be using to attach this. So I'll use my hand needle to gather it at the center here. Once I am done, I'll attach this strap of fabric this way. I'll stitch it down and then turn it to the right side. So guys, this is what we have after I was done. So you're going to go ahead and attach this to my bodice. So to do this, I'll make sure that so while cutting this, I'll make sure that this net gets to the armhole and this other armhole. I forgot to mention that. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this down into the armhole. I'll stitch it down and then I'll stitch this down so that by the time you want to attach the lining is easier for you. So I'll just stitch it down and hold it down. So guys, this is what we have after attaching this. So I'll go ahead and turn it to the back and trim off these excesses. So this is what we have. And then for my gather part, I've cut out my fabric for it, and what I have here is I took out my half length, which is 13 inches. So I placed my tape at 13 inches and then I measured my full length, which is 34 inches. Then I added 2 inches stitching allowance. So that's what I have here. And then I also cut out my net. My net is, I divided this gather part by 2 and then I cut out the net, but I added extra 2 inches to it. You know that the net is longer than the gather part, and also I need some allowance up here to stitch it down. So that's what we have here. So what I'm going to be doing before we make some gathers on this fabric for attachment is I'm going to attach this net first. So I have pieces of net. It's not like it's a straight net, so I'll be joining it. Anyway I exhaust one, I'll add the next one. So I'll open it up this way. I'm going to first of all hem this by 2 inches. I'll hem it and stitch all the way to the end. And then what I have here for the length is my waist measurement. I doubled my waist measurement because I don't want it to be too long because of the quantity of net that I have. Or you can just cut out as flare, whichever that you like. So I'll open up the once I am done hemming this, I'll open up the gather and the net. I'll place it this way, making sure that the net is longer than the fabric by at least 2 inches. So once I place it that way, I'll go ahead, stitch down my zipper allowance, and then I'll start making place on top of the fabric. And as I'm making the place, I'm going to stitch it, and this place depends on how much fabric that you have. So the more fabric you have, the more net you have, the more place you're going to get. I hope you understand this. I'll go ahead and stitch it down all the way to the end. Once I am done with this, I'll make a gather stitch here and also create my gather for the upper side. Okay guys, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to bring in my front neck lining. I'm using the same fabric, so I'll place it this way underneath, under the net that we just created, and then you're going to go ahead and find your way and stitch it all the way to the end. Once I am done with that, I'll also do the same thing for my back bodice. So I'll open up my back bodice and then I'll go ahead and stitch it down on my neckline all the way to the end, and this one as well. Okay guys, I'm done stitching it and I make notches around it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this to the right side. So this is what we have once we turn it to the right side, and I'll do the same thing for the back one. So guys, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to open up the front bodice, and then I'll bring in my armhole, and then I'll place it front facing front on one side. I'll stitch it down by 1/2 inch. I'll repeat the same process for this other side. I'll open it up from inside this way. The reason I'm doing it this way, so that I'll be sure I have what I'm stitching correctly. So I'll open it up this way. I will stitch it down by 1/2 inch all the way to the end of the armhole. Okay guys, this is what we have after I was done. So I just make notches around this cut area. So once I am done, if you have means of ironing, please do where to iron yours. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my back bodice from facing front with the front bodice. So once I am done with that, I'll go ahead and open up. Remember, one piece of this back bodice is my lining, so I'll open up my lining. I'll put my hand into it towards the shoulder, and then I'll turn everything inside. So it's just the shoulder that I'm turning in. Once I turn it inside, I'll then arrange it, making sure that all seam line and matches, all seam line matches on both sides. So this is what we have. Once I am done with that, I'll stitch it down by 1/2 inch. So let's repeat the same process for this side so that we'll understand it well. So I open up my lining, from my back lining. I'll put my hand into it towards my shoulder, and then I will pull everything inward. Hope you get it now. Then arrange and then stitch down. So guys, this is what we have after we are done. So I'll go ahead and turn it to the wrong side, just from that same place we turned it outside. So this is what we have. So you can see our shoulder, our armhole, everything tucked in. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to arrange this. So I'll be doing outer stitching. If you want to do inner stitching, that seam, inner seam is okay, whichever that works for you. So I'll stitch it down by 1 inch that we added, and I will do the same thing for this other side. So guys, this is what we have, and I also went ahead to serge this. So I'll turn it to the right side, and we have this. So we're going to go ahead and complete the work on the skirt part before attaching it. So guys, this is what we have for the skirt part. I'm done stitching the net on it, and I also hemmed it as well. So this is what we have. Look at how beautiful it's looking. You can see that it's long. The length is longer than the fabric by about 1/2 inch. So I'll just go ahead and gather my fabric and attach it to the bodice. And this is it after I was done. So after I was done attaching the gathers to the bodies, the skirt part to the bodies, you can see what we have. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to close up my zipper allowance and then attach my zipper. And that's it for this style. I hope you find value and you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share my videos to family and friends, subscribe if you haven't, and wash my ass, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.